All right, greetings, everyone. I am Carmen coming to you live with a wonderful opportunity to speak with our customers on today. We have the pleasure to have Michael here from M&M Sales to talk a little bit about what has been going on and transpiring in this challenging time. And we're so ecstatic that he's taken the time to reach out on us today. So we're going to go ahead and just kind of get a little bit more insight on what we have been doing as an organization and of that nature. So I'll start it off and just ask you a few questions here in regards to tell us a little bit about your business and what you guys are doing today.
So thanks, Carmen. We've, as an operator, we're really trying hard to maintain a safe environment for our employees. Number one, that's, if we're not doing that, then we're failing and falling short. But biggest thing for us is just starting out with keeping our employees safe and making sure that we're doing the right things to create an environment where we're protecting them from whatever all this is and everything that's going on. From there, it's just really starting to streamline. We've been in business for about 73 years. My grandfather started the business in 1947-ish, somewhere in that neighborhood. I'm a third generation operator. We're in Lafayette, Louisiana, and we service the greater southwest portion of Louisiana. So the hurricane area, all along the southwest portion of Louisiana, if a hurricane comes, we pretty much catch it.
Wow.
So that's a fun little exciting time, and it kind of helps us prepare of what's really going on right now is that reaction to something we have no control over. But we employ about a little over 75 people. We have 24 routes. My sister Lauren, my brother Zach, my mom Frances, and my dad Chuck all work in the business together. It is a natural disaster all in itself, I think. It's a very interesting thing to work for a family business, but we really do get along. We have some trying times sometimes, but for the most part, I think everybody works well together. We all have our thing that we do to make sure that the business is being taken care of and doing what we need to do to make sure that our customers are taken care of and our employees are taken care of.
Absolutely. You mentioned something here talking about, it being a family-owned business. And I know this is definitely a time where ultimately, like you said, your first goal is to ensure as customers, safety is first and you're able to, continue on with business. But family seems to be a little closer these days.
Sure.
What are some of the things have you done with your family that have been maybe a little interesting or different from your norm? Because I can almost imagine that you have a lot of family meetings and discussions outside of business, but at the same time, you're probably missing that connectivity. What are some of the things that you guys have done to kind of
Yes.
weather the storm?
So I've actually, my son had the flu about a week before they shut the state down type in that scenario. So around March 17th. So I've actually been home since then. And so a lot of the conversations along with the family have just been phone calls and really trying to figure out what we do and where do we go and how do we move through this, because it's not going to be forever. It's definitely something that we're going to make it through. But it's not the first time that we've been through something very similar. My parents went through the 1985 oil crash. 2008 was a really tough year for a lot of people in my personal experience of working in the business. So you become streamlined. You streamline as much as you can. You become as nimble as you possibly can. But staying connected with the family and just really having those conversations about what can we do and how do we make sure that we come out of the other end of this as nimble and strong as possible. Personally for me, being home with my family, I have a 7-year-old or almost 7-year-old son and an 8-year-old daughter. My wife and I have absolutely loved being with them. It's really been something that we've enjoyed having the opportunity to watch them grow up. Um, you know, so when distance learning for them started in school and they had to go to online school essentially,
Right.
what we ended up doing was we wake them up. So Monday through Friday, we wake them up at 7:30 in the morning. They put on their school uniform,
Mm.
and then they have breakfast and they head out to the RV that's parked in the driveway. And that's where school is. So they know that they're going to school, they're there until they're done, and that's it. And once they're done, then we as a family go out and we go for a walk for about 30 to 45 minutes, and that's their exercise. They can ride their bikes, they can walk, they can run, they can do whatever. And then we move on with the rest of our day. My wife still works a little bit. I'm working in the afternoons as well to catch up with some stuff. But for the most part, keeping that routine has really helped us stay sane and really helped us not get into each other's way and um, cause more, I guess I would use the word discomfort than necessary, because being close together and not being that way all the time, and now having to be together all the time, you have to set boundaries, but you also have to have a routine that's going to help maintain those boundaries.
Oh, absolutely. You kind of spoke to that, kind of trying to figure out and maintain structure. That's amazing that you were doing, and I think that's kind of the type of plight a lot of people are wondering. What can we do to try to keep things as normal as possible? And I think it's kind of what you're doing. Create your new normal. Create that.
Create the new normal. It's going to, we talk a lot about what can we do when everything goes back to normal.
Mhm.
It's not going to be normal.
Absolutely.
Some of the things that we're doing as a company is trying to figure out how do we as an industry, as a company, but also as an industry, how can we work together to figure out the best practices going forward in this new normal? How do we help locations, which micro markets, vending machines, coffee pots, all those things that we touch, they're all multi-touch locations. How do we help our customers be more comfortable with using those? So some of the things that we're talking about doing is putting hand sanitizers either near the kiosk or near vending machines on pedestals so they can be moved around. Um, we're looking into disinfectant, so being able to spray disinfectant and what that looks like. We have a company that comes in and cleans our facility, and I think every day or every other day they come in and they spray the entire facility to disinfect the entire facility. So what can we, if anything, do as a company and then also as an industry to create a sense of um, awareness and create a place where our customers feel like we have their best interest at heart, that we're not taking advantage, because people's habits are going to change. People are going to act differently. When someone sneezes, I promise they're gonna be people who run the other
That
direction,
back away.
right?
Sure. Sure.
Whereas before we were just kind of like, ooh, that's gross.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I mean, people are going to
Right.
react differently. So I think as a business and as a company, and then as an industry, we really need to think about what we can do to create and work within that new normal within our customer locations, because they're going to come back with different habits, different attitudes, different outlooks. They're going to be more aware of, in a micro market, who touched that micro market, who touched that kiosk, who touched that
Exactly.
bag of chips, who
Exactly.
touched that handle on that cooler. I mean,
Sure.
we're going to have to be aware of those things, and we can't really rely on our customers to clean as well as it probably should be. So, those are the things that we're thinking about, and how can we be better at what we do without creating more work for our customers, but still maintaining that level of sanitation and cleanliness.
Absolutely, Michael. You kind of really hit it on the bullseye there, where we're speaking of having to change our mindsets and how we do business going forward. It will never be the same,
Yep.
and I think that's why it's so important to hear the feedback and understand a little bit more of, your customers' maybe hesitations. And one of the things that 365 has done and has implemented is our touchless transactions. Those are the things we've done in advance prior to this pandemic, just on the wave of technology, of it being more convenient, being a little bit more efficient. Now it's in the forefront of how we got to do business going forward. People are going to have that mindset of, ooh, who was here first, but limiting that type of interaction, limiting the amount of activity on a kiosk, as well as being able people to feel comfortable when they're using their own personal phones, for them to successfully make those transactions and still be able to provide the needs of our customers. Those are the things we have in place. We have,
and it's removing it. Yeah, it's removing those points of friction. And, we talk about that all the time when credit card readers came out. On vending machines, is reducing that point of friction where you're capturing people who didn't have cash. Same thing here in micro markets and in the touchless transaction technology. It's going to be a way for us to reduce just one more level of contact and personal contact, or that contact on the kiosk. You're still going to have the contact on the product and the handles, and so those are the other things that we're going to have to maintain and figure out best practices for that. But the touchless technology, our transaction technology, is going to be something that's going to be, I think, utilized more as we come out of this and people start to return back to the markets. Because to be honest, we've got markets that are not being utilized right now because businesses are closed and they weren't essential businesses. So, it's something that I think being able to present that and being able to offer that to our customers as they're coming back, it's not like we're changing their habits without due cause. There's going to be a cause for it. And so they're going to be, I think, more receptive to the change because they're aware of it. Whereas before, if we came in and we said, well, we're going to change something. Whoa, what are you changing for me? This way, there's a reason for it. And so for us to be able to offer that and be ahead of the curve and be ahead of where their brain space or where their head space may be is going to be vitally important for us.
Absolutely. And I think that's why it's so important for us to not only let our customers know, but also let their, shareholders and everyone else know we're just as concerned for safety, and we're just as concerned of, not only becoming greater partners together, but this is the type of connection and rapport and relationships that we want to build to ensure that we all have, like I said, our finger on the pulse to create this innovation. This has never happened just before. And this is something where I think it's going to not only breed innovation, but it's also going to just really change the scope of our industry. And I'm optimistic about it. I know 365 is as well. And having partnerships such as you who are very invested, it shows how you all are putting your customer safety first. We're definitely excited to continue that partnership because ultimately we're better together, and we're excited to see how that change comes. So before I do part ways, I would like to know, are there any funny things or anything that you've done out of the norm for yourself during this quarantine? I'll touch briefly. So my family, I have family all across from I'm currently in Michigan. I have family in Denver and everywhere else. So we do our own Top Chef editions all via Zoom, and it's
pretty
pretty exciting. And music battles. We're huge music buffs here, so we have challenges and battles. And I actually celebrated my birthday via Zoom. So it was definitely different, but we've been finding some fun challenges to get into. I didn't know my parents were that competitive. So what about you? What about you, Michael?
Well, I mean, and the whole routine thing for the kids, I think that's a little different than some people putting them in their school uniform, because it's just it's a mindset, it's a mentality that they are aware of. When their uniform is on, they go to school, they got to go to school. So one of the things that has been happening around Lafayette, and I don't know other places, I'm sure, but birthday parades.
Oh.
So when someone has a birthday, whoever's having the birthday, they line up a Facebook event, and at, let's say, 5 o'clock on Friday, drive by their house and wish them happy birthday, honk the horns. So we've had quite a few of my son's soccer teammates have birthday parades, and you just, long lines of cars running up and down the street, honking and hooting and hollering and having a good time, just wishing birthday wishes. And so that's really been a unique situation for us, because I don't know if we ever thought about having a
Right.
birthday parade. My daughter had a birthday in March, late March, and that was right when this whole thing started. And I think we missed the boat. We could have had a little parade for her.
Yeah.
Instead, we had a Zoom call. We had a Zoom call with the family, so everybody jumped on the Zoom call to wish her happy birthday and sing and watch her blow out her candles on her cake. So that's probably the most unique thing that I've heard of, is having those birthday parades. So other than that, I think it's just staying sane, staying happy, being with family, really cherishing these moments. That's the most important thing for me.
Absolutely. And we wish you and your family continued safety, and just getting through this time. We'll make it out. And thank you for staying vigilant. Thank you for staying in tune and participating on today. We'll wrap it up by just simply saying a huge thank you. Thank you to, like I said, the partnership, but more importantly, we just wish you well and safety. And we are so happy to have Michael here today representing M&N Sales, and we are ecstatic and optimistic for the future. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. I appreciate it.